Okay. Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru and Gauranga. Wish you happy. Today's Tuesday, right? Good morning, Tuesday. And I seek blessings of all the Vaishnavas, dear Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada and our deity Shishi Nitai Gaur Chandra, so I can speak something beneficial to everyone. And frankly speaking, I have no qualification to speak on this subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam. Whatever I could speak just for my purification and just for the benefit of my betterment. So that let's recite prayers. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Ena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Ena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunadanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitanscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Rindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatharubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtakim Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay. Today we are reading from Canto 2, Chapter 7, titled Scheduled Incarnations with Specific Functions. And we are reading text 9. Okay. Yadvena utpatagatam dvijavakya vajra nisplishta paurishabhagam nirayo patangam travatito jagati putra padam cha lebhe dugda vasuni vasudha sakalani yena. Synonyms: Yat, when, Venam, unto King Vena, Utpatagatam, going astray from the righteous path, Dvija, of the Brahmanas, Vakya, words of cursing. Vajra, thunderbolt. Nisplasta, being burnt by. Purusha, great deeds. Paurusha, great deeds. Bhagam, opulence. Niraye, into hell. Patanam, going down. Kratva, by delivering. Artita, so being prayed for. Jagati, on the world. Putrapadam, the position of the sun. Cha, as well as. Lede, achieved. Dugda, exploited. Vasuni, produce. Vasuda, the earth. Sakalani, all kinds of. Ena, by whom. Translation. Maharaj Vena went astray from the path of righteousness, and the Brahmanas chastised him by the thunderbolt curse. By this, King Vena was burnt with his good deeds and opulence and was en route to hell. The Lord, by his causeless mercy, descended as his son by the name of Prithu, delivered the condemned King Vena from hell, and exploited the earth by drawing all kinds of crops and as produce. Purport by His Divine Grace, Avachanam Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. According to the system of Varnashram Dharma, the pious and learned Brahmanas were the natural guardians of society. The Brahmanas, by their learned labor of love, would instruct the administrator kings how to rule the country in complete righteousness. And thus, the process would go on as perfect welfare state. The kings or the Kshatriya administrators would always consult the council of learned Brahmanas. They were never autocratic monarchs. The scriptures like Manu Samhita and other authorized books of the great sages were guiding principles for ruling the subjects. And there was no need for less intelligent persons to manufacture the code of law in the name of democracy. The less intelligent mass of people have very little knowledge of their own welfare, as a child has very little knowledge of its future well-being. The experienced father guides the innocent child towards the path of progress, and the childlike mass of people need similar guidance. The standard welfare codes are already there in the Manu Samhita and other Vedic literatures. The learned Brahmanas would advise the king in terms of those standard books of knowledge and with reference to the particular situation of time and place. Such Brahmanas were not paid servants of the king, and therefore they had the strength to dictate to the king on the principles of scriptures. The system continued even up to the time of Maharaj Chandragupta, and the Brahmana Chanakya was his unpaid prime minister. Maharaj Vena did not adhere to this principle of ruling, and he disobeyed the learned Brahmanas. The broad-minded Brahmanas were not self-interested, but looked to the interest of complete welfare of all the subjects. They wanted to chastise the King Vena for his misconduct, and so prayed to the Almighty Lord as well as cursed the king. Long life, obedience, good reputation, righteousness, prospects of being promoted to higher planets, and blessings of great personalities are all vanquished simply by disobedience to the great soul. One should strictly try to follow in the footsteps of great souls. Maharaj Vena became a king undoubtedly due to his past deeds of righteousness, but because he willfully neglected the great souls, he was punished by the loss of all the above mentioned acquisitions. In the Vamana Purana, the history of Maharaj Vena and his degradation are fully described. When Maharaj Prithu heard about the hellish condition of his father Vena, who was suffering from leprosy in the family of Malacha, he at once brought the former king to Kurukshetra for his purification and relieved him from all sufferings. Maharaj Prithu, the incarnation of God, descended by the prayer of Brahmanas to rectify the disorders on earth. He produced all kinds of crops, but at the same time, he performed the duty of a son who delivers his father from hellish conditions. The word putra means one who delivers from hell, called put. That is a worthy son. So, just to bring in the context, like I think in the last chapter, where Brahma ended his discussion saying to Narada Muni that he'll explain all the different incarnations of the Lord, and by hearing them, by hearing these things, it counteracts all the foul matter in the ears. And also he said that it would bring in pleasing to the self. So, and in this chapter, Brahma started explaining all the different avatars. And in this particular text, Brahma is talking about Maharaj Prithu. So, yeah, most of us know the story of Maharaj Prithu, but just to summarize and just for my recollection, I just want to say. So, the King Anga, who is in the lineage of Dhruva Maharaj, was very much distressed of not having a son, and by performing the sacrifices, he gets a son. But the son who was born was not very righteous, and he is very cruel. And during even his child age or young age, when he was playing with his friends, he used to be very cruel, and suddenly when he gets angry or something, he used to kill them, or like he used to go to forest and kill the animals with no reason, and he was very cruel, and king couldn't bring him to the righteousness of the good path. So he was in distress, and he left the kingdom. During that time, the sages who were very well versed in the scriptures and what's the right and wrong, so they thought like without a king, the subjects of the people in the kingdom, no one would be there to protect them, and also since no one is there to guide them in the right direction, so they'll become independent and become non-regulated. So that would lead to a degraded society. So with the permission of Queen Mother Sunita, which is mother of Vena, they enthroned Vena as king, though they all know that he is not the right person because of his qualities, bad qualities. So once the king Vena once he became the king, Vena was so arrogant and proud, and he has so much false ego and all things. And he forced Brahmanas not to perform sacrifices and all kinds of things, like subjects are not happy at all, like and subjects were becoming rebellion. And that time again sages thought like this is not going in the right direction, and we should they're all angry about how the king was ruling the kingdom, and they thought of like instructing him what's the right way. So they sages went back to the King Vena and tried to explain him based on the scriptures what is the right thing or how to rule righteously. But king is not ready to listen to them. So they have to curse him to death. So again, the situation came back to the original thing. So again, the kingdom has become without a king. And the sages, again, they churned the hands of the King Vena. And from there, the Lord appeared as Prithu Maharaj. And in this verse, like Brahma was saying, like how Prithu Maharaj delivered his father from hell and also brought the righteousness back into the kingdom. So in the purport, like multiple things which Prabhupada mentioned. One is like how a Kshatriya or a king should rule the kingdom, and one word Prabhupada used was it should not be autocratic kings. Like they should always consult the learned brahmanas on how to rule them. At the same time, even brahmanas should be like should not have any personal motives, and without that they should guide the kings in a right way. What would be the right thing to do? So, and another word which another sentence which Prabhupada mentions, like already there are many scriptures like Manu Samhita have explained how to rule and all the different laws to be made. And Prabhupada mentions this sentence, like there was no need for less intelligent persons to manufacture a code of law in the name of democracy. Like now if you see like many countries or many governments wanted, like they wanted to be democracy, but and they bring in many rules which might be against the scriptures, or like which are not mentioned, or like which are considered as abominable things, like they bring in. And another point which Prabhupada mentioned is the learned brahmanas would advise the king in terms of those standard books of knowledge and with reference to the particular situation of time and place. Such brahmanas were not paid servants of the king, and therefore they had the strength to dictate to the king on the principles of scriptures. So with that, like I'm just thinking in the current age, the situation, like all the, if I just want to draw the parallel, like the current advisors to the leaders, most of them can be considered as the brahmanas of the olden time who used to guide the kings. Most of them are, most of the times they are kind of in line with the leader, what leader wanted to or do, or what is leader's interest. So their personal interests can be fulfilled too. If not, some are afraid of the leaders, like what could happen if we go against them or something. So then they try to be in line with the leaders. Or people who are genuine and work seriously with the genuine cause, and they would be facing all kinds of atrocities against them, like being transferred to the places where they're not, like the small places, or put them in the lowest jobs or something like that. So currently at this time, the situation is like what King Vena was doing. So basically leaders doesn't have any specific knowledge on the things, how to rule them, except their own personal motives, how we can get benefit of it. They're less worried about the subjects of people. And another thing which attracted my mind was like the less intelligent mass of people have very little knowledge of their own welfare, as a child has very little knowledge of its future well-being. The experienced father guides the innocent child towards the path of progress, and the child, like mass people, need similar guidance. So here again, Prabhu is saying like most of the population are kind of less intelligent, and they just try to follow what most of the people are doing. So then digging through what is right or what is wrong, and just follow what's going on in general. So Prabhupada is saying that they do need a guide, like an expert father, how he guides the child towards the right path, the way most of the people, mass of the people needs that guidance. And when we don't have that proper guidance, or when we don't follow in the path dictated by the knowledgeable people, so the same situation whatever happened to King Vena, that would happen to anyone. So King Vena has long life, obedience, good reputation, righteousness, prospects of being promoted to the higher planets, and blessings of great personalities are all vanquished simply by disobedience to a great soul. So only just by not listening to those great souls, King Vena has lost all his qualities, and he has to leave this world. So, yeah, that's one thing. And at the same time, like when King Prithu took over the kingdom, and he not only ruled the kingdom nicely as described in the scriptures, and rectified all the disorders in the earth, and with that, like he produced like a lot of crops, and besides, he also delivered his father King Vena. So that, like, I just want to conclude with my thoughts or my takeaway from this. So in this current world, it's hard to find leaders who can guide the population in the right direction as per the scriptures in the current age of Kali. So since we don't have any right leaders to guide us, so this would lead less intelligent common people, or the mass of the people, to develop their own independence and non-regulated lives, and this would lead to a degraded society. So Prabhupada mentions in the purport, saying that the kings has to follow the dictations of the brahmanas, learned brahmanas. Similarly, I guess like we have to be able to understand the great acharyas and try to follow their dictation, so we can get liberated in this life by just following the dictation of the previous acharyas. So yeah, with that I'll conclude, and sorry for if I make any mistakes, or please forgive me and correct me if I spoke something wrong. Move a little bit to the side actually.
Anyone has question, Prabhu? Maybe. Come on.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances to all glories Srila Prabhupada.
I like the word righteous. You mentioned many times. I don't know. Sometimes even within the family, for example, two brothers, right? Or I was just thinking, even when they grow old, their property has to be divided based on their ancestors. And ancestor property has to be divided to two brothers, suppose, or even all the children. The person who is handling it, if he is not righteous, he wants to plunder and exploit everybody's property and have it on his own, right?
Yes, sir.
So this is, then I was thinking, what is the right word to use for these guys if they are doing like this? That means they are not righteous. If we can say right, this is right or wrong, that's the word is righteous. I think that was a better word to say. As a human being, we have to act like a human being with righteous and right consciousness. Otherwise, it'll be basically what King Vena did was very exploiting, because he wants to have his own sense gratification. That means it's and what you call, he is very selfish. That means he wants to enjoy. And I was thinking he was actually the right example of lording over the material nature, if I am not wrong, right? Because
yes.
that's exactly what he was doing. And then Brahmanas were trying to tell him and he's not understanding. But at least he was fortunate enough that he he was basically murdered by the mantras.
Yeah.
See the outcome, even though they did that, still Prithu Maharaj came out of his churning of the thighs and whatnot, right? That means the Saktya Vesha Avatar, I don't know whether it is Saktya Vesha Avatar, but it is incarnation.
Yeah.
Art himself came and he became so famous in the history of the mankind that we always refer Ramarajya. He was doing kind of as Ramarajya. That means Prithu Maharaj was so famous. He was such a beautiful king, and ruling was so nice. So in this present world, I was thinking, what's going on with this Kali Yuga? Everything is becoming norm. Even though something is not righteous, they are thinking that nothing wrong. Whatever we is doing is right. Basically, that nobody aware of what is supposed to be, what is righteous or what is wrong. I don't know what's the word I can say, but people are, especially in India or here, that don't even think that they're doing something is wrong at all, right? Even starting from the family to all the way to the community, and then to the people who are ruling this country, they don't understand that they're doing right or wrong. They're doing something wrong. So what is the way to make them aware? That my thought is, what is the best way to make them aware that they're doing wrong? Unless, see, recently there is one, if you see the newspaper, lot of scams. Even somebody want to recruit, right? Then the government recruitment, recently I saw in West Bengal that teachers recruitment, there is a big scam. The cops recruitment, there is a big scam. So that Brahminical quality is completely gone in this world. So I was thinking, if I can talk Bhagavatam, you can talk Bhagavatam. But how do we make people aware of what is right, what is wrong? That's the $1 million question I was thinking, Prabhu.
Frankly speaking, I don't know like too much on the thoughts, Prabhu, but means from the previous hearings and all, like I could say that like means I think even Prabhupada mentioned, I think many times, I think it is hard to, because in the purport also Prabhupada mentions starts with the Varnashram Dharma, like in the olden times, like everyone respects their position and then they know what needs to be done, and then they were working in cohesion, like all the Varnas, like they never had anything like this. And I think that's why Prabhupada was always mentioned like it's not possible to bring back the Varnashram Dharma, but I think should start living in the, what's it called? Daiva Varnashrama, like means people be like Krishna consciousness and work towards the happiness of Krishna consciousness, like selflessness. And I don't know how we could bring that to those leaders unless and until people with the right consciousness, with knowledge of the scriptures, can become the leaders of these countries. I don't know how much it could be possible
that's
to bring in. So yeah,
it's very difficult, Prabhu. As you know, even as you mentioned about the Varnashrama Dharma, you know what the key British did when they came to this country? They know the pros and cons. They know what is the strength of Indian culture. The strength of Indian culture was Varnashram Dharma. So they were very smart on how to make that weaker and bringing that so-called casteism and this and that. From that point of time, it's completely screwed up today, right? So that went to a different picture altogether. Yes, you are absolutely right. Devi Varnashram is the best. Yeah, but how? I don't know. There are 7 billion people in this world. I don't think we can do it. And even in India, there is 1.6 billion. How do we really those kind of leaders? It's very, very difficult. I can give one Bhagavad Gita to one leader. What he will do, I don't know whether he'll read. I'll just give. Right?
It's that's true. But first of all, they need to get the right guidance also. Like even though they're the right, like the people who are guiding them has to be in the right path too. So at least one way, while I was reading this purport, I was thinking one way, like at least people, at least theoretically, who realized and accept this path of Krishna consciousness, this comment, like, and they understand what is the disciplic succession, and at least we know that we have to work towards, though we are not, or at least myself, I'm not there yet, but I know at least theoretically I accept. So in the process of doing it, so I hope I don't have to take birth again if I get somehow to it. So I don't have, if I could remember at the last minute Krishna's name, so I might don't have to take that birth, so I don't have to say all these things. But anyway, this is all the Kali Yuga qualities. It's going to get degraded, so it's not going to get better anyway. So
yeah, in Prabhupada, in fourth canto mentions even about what secularism is, the current secularism, and what he comments in one purport what secularism is also. Anyway, that's the. I think it is difficult, but can be done in eventually in our own. So I think it's no, the point what I was thinking is it's very difficult to bring everybody in the world, which is not possible. But at least
Yes,
we can from our own, kith and kin and start with that, and
Yeah.
then it go, and then it's only Krishna's hand, whatever he can do, right?
Yes, Prabhu.
That's how.
Yes, Prabhu. That's one way of doing it. At least from our side, whatever is possible, try to bring in the right growth in the children of the next generation. So yeah.
Yeah, I had one question like this to one of the Maharaj. I think Maharaj said, no, one of the Maharaj, I forgot his name.
Yeah.
Vishnu Swami, I don't know, I forgot. He said the same thing. No, you can't change the world. You should just do, start with you, and then let it slowly go. That's most important. You don't have to totally change your world. It's not possible. First of all, you cannot. You are not eligible for that. You are not Prabhupada. That's what Maharaj said. Anyway,
Yes.
it's a good. It's just a thought of good discussion, because we are Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna pastimes, etc. Great, but Prabhupada also mentions in his purports on a general aspect of how to deal these kind of situations. Some people say, don't read newspapers, don't these do. Yeah, we have to. Based on me, I want to be aware of what's going on outside, and then see how I can implement, at least slowly, and then teach our own people. We don't have to tell anybody else, at least our own people. That's all. Anyway,
Yes.
this time. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
There's one thought is coming to me, Balram Prasad Prabhu, circle of influence and circle of concern, right? So, yeah. So, I know, I think you mentioned at the end, same thing. So,
Yeah, the thoughts comes like that, but I can't do anything. That's very good, Prabhu. Whatever you said is, yeah, I don't know the technical terms.
yeah.
You-
No. Yeah. So that's what you said, sir.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. We don't have influence across the, world. I mean, we can have concern, but we are not Prabhupada. But yeah, we can do at our own stage, and then. But anyway, again said, I think it's Kali Yuga, right? I mean, we cannot bring back. I mean, of course, Prabhupada mentioned many times that he can bring back Ramarajya, but yeah, the Kali Yuga is like that, right? So
Yeah, don't get too much disturbed. Just keep going on your path.
thank you so much.
Yeah, basically, when we do Bhagavatam, we don't discuss much, but the real association means exchange of thoughts. That's what real association means. So we have to. Of course, I'm not logging in nowadays, but yes, if I come in, I just keep talking. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thanks a lot for making it the right way to understand those points. Yeah. Okay, Lakshmi Prabhuji, I think it's already 8:10.
Thank you. Sun is also following you. So.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah, I know you don't want to leave me. So, yeah, thank you. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhyo patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
End it there, bro.
Yeah, yes, yeah. Good to see it, sir.